I figured it's probably best to highlight how to shop on the Steam store front. Which, yes. First thing, I guess if you had a completely brand new account, would be to come to the front page and start giving some targeted advertising information to Valve and Steam about what games you're interested in by clicking on links and adding them to your wish list, which I guess we can go through the whole process here, clicking on wish list, or at very least putting it on the follow list. But in particular, in my point is going to be the wish list things. So scrolling around the front page and clicking on things that interest you, ignoring things that don't interest you, will have it very quickly start to customize your front page more. During the summer sales, they are doing free stickers by exploring the discovery queue, which just clicking on this with the new advanced discovery queue is very easy, and it once again allows you to look at things with a little star option here to say add it to my wish list, and an ignore button, which you don't have to use too much, frankly, unless you just want to use it. It's there for people who do. So particularly during the summer sale, going through 3 entire groups of these will give you 9 stickers to decorate your profile and do things like that. And then when you have these stickers, you can use them in, I think, chat something. So you have to do it 3 times to get all 9 of the stickers guaranteed. And then you can get these other emoticon things from the point shops, which you're getting points for the point shop by buying games. So let's see, just grab all of these since I have a massive amount of points balance anyways, because I have bought 2 Steam Decks, which then when I reload this page, it'll say I have everything for the summer sale as far as different items, avatar frames, profile backgrounds, things that you can really decorate with. Although in fairness, I wouldn't say there's a lot of visuals here. And see, it's been a long time since they've even cared about trading cards, and those are not things you earn from the point shop. They are things you get as random card drops, or by buying them on the marketplace and trading them. And then they raise your level, which the whole profile level doesn't really matter. I have a very high, like I'm at like 180. Anyways, that has nothing to do with actually shopping, so you can see how easy it is to get distracted. But yeah, first things first is to go on the front page and get some things on your wish list. Scroll down, see what looks interesting. If you want to follow popular new releases here, I'll show you that. You can click more popular new releases if you're interested in what is new, what is upcoming, the upcoming tab, and clicking that will show you more. And if you want to start free, as in free to play or demos mixed together, which you like that to be separate, you have to click these buttons to get to that point. Once you hit the black bar here, it's just going to infinitely scroll and show you more art, more games. But yeah, once you get to that wish list point, you will have your own wish list. Here is the page for top wish lists, which arguably maybe I should be looking at this chart on Steam. As far as the top wish listed game, we're assuming this is in linear, but I could also be looking at the SteamDB's chart. We could have two charts at the beginning as far as here's the most wish listed games, which shows us what people are excited about, which that would be fairly valuable information. And I just found these a few minutes ago, so I'll give it a little bit more thought. But I think going forward we probably will be looking at the most wish listed games. That being said, it's also, I guess, going to be somewhat noticeable that games like Fable may be wish listed in very high numbers and on the chart for a very long time, because it's just going to take them forever to really release the game. Let's see if there's anything particularly noticeable otherwise on the most wish listed top 100 here. Not really. Doesn't feel like there's any games here that are technically in early access, like Hades 2. So it does seem like they are doing a decent filtering on that aspect, because it would be very easy for early access games to say, well, we're the most wishlisted game, but they actually aren't an upcoming game because they're already out in an early access form. Okay, so different options as far as ways to get to your wish list. So once you have a wish list, which I have a lot of games on the wish list, here's how you effectively shop. If you want a popularity contest, sort by top selling. Easy enough to figure out why. Cyberpunk, Clair Obscur, these are top selling games. If it has a green box to it, some version of it, perhaps not the deluxe edition that has all the DLC you really would want in the season pass, but some version is on sale. But it's not sorting or caring one bit if it's a 20% off price tag for like Baldur's Gate 3, which still may be a decent price as far as discounts go, since it's not that old of a game and it's super popular, versus that much higher sales off. Generally, when a sale is occurring, I want to see things that are 95% off, or at least 85% off as minimum before I even consider them. But with the economy in its current state, you're seeing less deals. I believe I saw an ad on Prime Day that the things on sale on Prime Day, which happens the 8th, is up to 40% off. Which 40% off is not a particularly huge deal as far as discounts go, particularly since these prices are effectively made up. You can see as we scroll down, Stellar Blade, which is practically brand new, has no discount on it. And some things that are 95% off are still $3, where other things have a lower base price, so 95% off would get it below $1. And some things in particular are going to be PlayStation or Capcom published products, and Japanese companies in particular tend to not really like to heavily discount their games ever. So Last of Us Part 1, half off at $30, might be the best you can get, but I think there's probably a remastered version that's going to come to PC at some point. Or Persona 3 Reload at $30 might be the best you can get in that case. So you have to kind of slowly learn all the tricks of the trade as far as shopping. And so that is how you would scroll down your wish list if you're interested in popularity. Now, ideally, your rank would be the way you would do things, that you would have made a very curated wish list. Odds are you're not going to. You're going to have too many games on your wish list to begin with, and it's just going to be too much of a hassle to try and drag things around and say, I'm more interested in Rogue Legacy 2 than I am anything else on this list. It's just not likely going to be the case that you could even compare apples to oranges that much to know one way or the other. But yeah, your rank certainly could help you quite a bit. But when you get into big numbers like this, the best way a system like this might be is that you would just start to put everything not into a specific number and have it be in finer details, but instead put it into ranges. So effectively, if I put Myst in the number 1 spot and then hit enter, it'll jump up and it will bump everything down. So now this Rogue Legacy is in the number 2 spot. But let's say here, Summer and Mara is a game that's mid-tier. So we don't need it in the top 100. So then the next thing to probably do would be to just type in 200 and then click off of it and let it jump down and work in that faction. Just put everything that you think should be in the top 100 into the number 1 spot. Anything that should be in the 101 to 200 spot should be in the 200. Anything below that should be like 300. Certainly you could see how maybe these adult games, which probably can't ever cover, might deserve to go down further. But yeah, the general idea is a bucket mentality in which you're just throwing games into a different bucket of categories and doing a very short sorting. As I'm occasionally working on cleaning and decluttering my house, that is, at least on the first pass, how I had to do a lot of things is to just have a box or a place where I'm going to put a generic group of things until I can figure out when I have time to actually work towards more precisely sorting things. And often in that kind of junk drawer sorting method, you may eventually just realize that everything in that box is not worth your time and throw the entire box away, which can save you a lot of time. Yeah, a lot of sorting and decluttering a house may very well just be breaking down your own mental barriers to tossing things. So, yes, ideally you would have a rank and a very nicely curated wish list. You would just then pick the games that looked like they were discounted at all, or the games that you absolutely wanted, and buying them now. And there is a slight advantage still to buying something now, even if it isn't discounted, because of the trading cards, but not much of an advantage. It's not really worth doing because the next sale may come around. Now, SteamDB's plugin helps a lot here, but particularly on the sale, it may not help greatly. But if you're seeing something here is marked down to $20, but it's historically been $14 2 months ago, then you kind of know you're not getting as good of a deal as you likely will get in the future, or at least you hope you will get in the future. So you might skip a deal buying a game because of that. Of course, if you want to play the game, just buy it and play it, but that's not going to be the most frugal answer. So theoretically, again, your rank would be the way to shop for a Steam release, but that is really more in the theory. You could also certainly sort by the date added to see, well, then just like the things you've added the most recently. It's probably not going to tell you much as far as new information. You could also sort by review score, which that could help you a lot, but you're going to find that there's probably a lot of overlap of games that have overwhelmingly positive reviews on your wish list anyway, so it's not going to be that helpful. Clearly, there are several ways you could sort, but the best ways to sort, if you don't have a rank and you aren't following popularity, is to go with the price, which if your wish list has a bunch of games that either have episode 1 free or a base game free where you're going to very quickly need to buy DLC, you're going to have a lot of things that just say add to library and sorting by price. So it's going to take you a while to get down to the really cheap games. And this is how I've shopped very often. It's just getting the 49 cents games. At one point it felt like 69 cents was the lowest a game could get down to. Honestly, I think you might even be able to get it down to 39 cents, but there is a minimum just because of how Valve is going to take probably 30 cents on every transaction plus 10%, which would be 33 cents, leaving maybe 16 cents to the actual person in profit. The problem with shopping this way, though, is you're going to end up with a lot of random games. You're going to end up with a lot of generic games that aren't particularly that good, and that's fine if you just want games for the short run, but in the long run it's still going to add up, and buying even a $1 or $2 game can often be worth it a lot more than buying 2 or 3 49-cent games. Also be careful not to get DLC that then requires you to buy a base game. Yeah, you can just continuously scroll up here and you'll see the price will slowly go up. A lot of games now have bumped up to 59 cents, 69 cents, 71 cents, 74 cents. Yeah. And a lot of games are crossing the $1 barrier. Even sodas in convenience machines have long since stopped being under $1 in price. So the thought that 99 cents doesn't really matter, again, it just kind of adds up. And scrolling down here, I think I can really highlight that. If we just scroll down a bit, I know it's not loading. There's really, to this point, a lot of games here that are 99 cents. If I was to buy them all, that probably is putting me over $100, maybe even $150 just on $1 games. So yeah, that's one way to shop, although I would say it's probably not the best way to shop, is by the price. The best way to shop, again, if you don't have your own custom rank and are actually just buying games you care about, or would be to go by discount. Now, the difference there is this is going to show you games that are heavily discounted at 95%, which I've never seen a 96, 7, 8, or 9% off. I have seen 100% offs. But it's going to be high percentages off on probably higher base prices. one good thing you can say about Steam is that they don't really let them mess with the base prices anywhere as much as people on Amazon.com does. So if something says it was $59.99, it originally came out at $59.99 and has never been able to bump that price up. In fact, very rarely have there been cases in which any game on Steam has bumped its base price up. There have been a few, probably more than a few, but not a lot, and it never comes out good for the publishers or developers who do that. So the thought here is, what is the best deal you're getting? And it integrates things like Crisis Remastered with smaller games. The Battlefield series is all on sale, but Battlefield 2 and 3 are questionable. I don't even think Battlefield 2 is on Steam. So yeah, you would end up having to open a lot of these games to double check whether you're still interested in buying them, though, at the discounts. And you can see that for someone who has a pretty long wish list, very quickly it starts to scroll downward. You're already to 90%, so these sales aren't really doing amazingly good deals. And so yeah, there's just a lot of increased prices reflecting the poor economy in the United States at the moment. Yeah. And the discounts are reflecting that quite a bit. Definitely seems like a lot of the bigger games can still feel like they are decent deals at 90% off, selling for $2.99. Of course, once again, for me personally, I already have 1,500 games, so while there is a lot on this list, if I get a bunch more games, I need to just have more time to actually play games and make footage, which I'm trying to do that, but also I'm not doing the greatest of job of accomplishing that. I am playing Command & Conquer Remastered right now, and that's going to take up a lot of time. But I still also have a lot of other projects: house cleaning, decluttering, remodeling, and just adulting in general that I need to also focus on and take some to it. And at some point I might get desperate enough that I have to just go work at a Walmart or something, which would then take up all of my time. It's not like this channel is monetized, even though it's potentially close to being that situation. I don't think YouTube is going to start paying bills, really. You can see how some of these games are down to 85% discounted, but still are kind of high. You are definitely in the region of you're buying a game from 6 years ago and still paying nearly $10 for it. Although there is an argument specifically for Code Vein, since Code Vein 2 was just announced, to get that and play it. There's less of an argument for a lot of these games. And at a certain point I would say cut yourself off. 75% is probably the point where I would say you should probably cut this whole thing off. Some games I'd like to own, but probably don't have a lot of relevancy. Some games are third games in series that I'd like to own, but also not received particularly well. Yeah. Once you're below the 75%, though, I would say that is the point where you should stop shopping, unless you just have a much shorter wish list, at which point you probably either just can't afford to buy everything on your wish list at the moment and still should stop shopping, or you can afford to buy everything on your wish list and you should just buy everything. And yeah, there's really no reason to rush it. Very few games have ever left Steam that are recognizable games, games that anybody would want to really play, relevant games. Tons of games have left Steam that are garbage asset flip games, but yeah, you probably wouldn't have ever wishlisted those games in the first place or even known about them. And very few people, I think, really need to get into the element of digging deep on Steam to find new games. You would have to just play so many games, or you would have to be limited in the style of games you would want to play. There are some scenarios that come to mind where that could be the case. If you have some kind of impairment, whether it is a physical disability and can only play a certain styles of games, or a physical, visual, or mental thing, which would, I guess, be about the same thing, same situation. Blind people in particular are going to really struggle to find a lot of games that are playable on Steam. Maybe 4 or 5 games in total would be. And you can see how 80% seems to be the sweet spot, because I've been scrolling down quite a long time and even the icons don't want to load, and we are still at the 80% $2.99 level of competition. Yeah, hearing impaired people are going to struggle a little bit, I think, in playing games, but not anywhere as much as blind people would. There's plenty of visual novels on Steam that are read-only or have reading in it, so you could easily play those without being concerned about audio being an issue. Plenty of games that have subtitles in them. Accessibility is improving slowly on Steam as far as labeling accessibility options, but the new accessibility options that were added do really highlight that only about 5 games have all of the possible accessibility options out of all the games on Steam, and part of that is a text-to-speech and speech-to-text for the chat feature, which clearly that would be the spot to lock in and have Valve try to improve the situation by releasing an improved API that just automatically did have text-to-speech and speech-to-text in chat features in games. I would assume that Valve's friend list of text-to-speech and speech-to-chat is capable of doing that, but maybe it isn't. So yeah, anyways, I didn't even make it to 75% off. The sweet spot definitely seems to be 80%, and that would be a very long process if you have a very long wish list, so don't go willy-nilly. Are there any other tips and tricks I can offer as far as buying things on Steam? Yes, the summer sale and the fall sale tend to be the best points in which sales happen, but there are a lot of games that in small groups go on sale week to week, and there are a lot of games that in publisher sales go on sales more So there might very well be an EA publisher sale where EA games are a better discount compared to the summer sale, or the fall winter sale. There is some weirdness as far as whether the winter sale or the fall sale, aka the Black Friday sale, are the better sales for that time of the year. Both sales are kind of in terrible positions. The summer sale is perhaps in the best position because you're likely to be less likely to go outside and possibly even have a summer break of some sort. So summer sales to buy video games kind of make some sense, whereas the Black Friday sale and the winter sales are smack in the middle of Black Friday purchases of other things and Christmas purchases. So those are kind of worse times to buy. Don't buy anything is always my suggestion unless you really want to play it and are actually going to get around to playing it in the next year, because we always know there will be another sale and prices are typically going to go down. So yeah, that's going to be it for this mini explanation, which I do realize now I'm going to cut out and try and make its own video. So this was part of a larger live stream, but this section is also going to be separately posted a second time in its own separate video. So anyone who's seeing that separate video, I ask you to like, share, and subscribe. Check out my YouTube page. I've got playlists for a ton of games I've covered. See what you can watch, see what you can do to help me get a higher watch time. It will be very much appreciated. Thanks.